Okay, good morning, future wonks. Hope you had an excellent weekend. Many of you made it to, surprising many of you made it to Coffee Chat. We discussed economic policy and took a look at the political campaign for the presidency again. But on to a new week. First, let's just pause and appreciate that this is the first 5 day week. Week three, the first 2 weeks we had 4 days. This week is going to be a full week, so we're going to want to pace ourselves, make sure that we have some stuff, some energy left for Friday, that we just don't burn out on Thursday. Today is an interesting day for many of you during your fourth period, the expectations assembly. The good news is that doesn't affect or impact our class. So we're going to be able to move forward. We're going to start right off with looking at political ideology, the political spectrum. And so we'll get to see a little bit about where we may fall on the political spectrum. So I think an issue that's going to be impacting domestic policies, especially on the presidential campaign trail now, is the issue of Syrian refugees. We haven't brought this up in class yet, but it's time to start being aware of it. And you've been seeing news stories and you've been seeing information out there. And what's America going to do? What is America's responsibility? Is there a responsibility? Here is a situation in Syria where over 1 million refugees are fleeing, and what's going on with them? They're overwhelming numbers. And we see that first, the Arab states, many of those Gulf states like Saudi Arabia, who share the same religion and culture as these refugees, are flat out accepting zero. Whereas Western Europe is feeling a sense of moral obligation and is accepting refugees in larger numbers. How about in America this year, the fiscal year? And did you just hear that word I used? Fiscal year. I would, if I was an aspiring wonk, make sure I know exactly what that word means, because I'm about to use it twice. So, in the fiscal year that ends at the end of this month, the United States will have accepted roughly 1,500. 1,500 doesn't sound like too large a number. And President Obama is going to make a statement that in fiscal year beginning October 1, for next fiscal year, that America should and will accept 10,000 Syrian refugees. So first, what's the difference between a refugee, a political refugee that comes into the country, and an immigrant or a legal immigrant who goes through the process? So is 10,000 too many? Not enough? 70 Democrats at the end of last week signed a petition to President Obama saying that he should make the number much higher, should be 100,000 Syrian refugees. So that's a lot. Compare that to how much America accepts for regular immigrants. And on the campaign trail, it seems that both the Republican Party and the Democratic Party have recognized the humanitarian crisis here, and that somewhere between 1,500 and 10,000 is the appropriate number. But what kind of issues does this cause? Who are these refugees? Certainly people are going to be making the argument that some of these people might be part of ISIS, might be part of terrorist cells. Is there a danger to our national security? And what about issues of assimilation and naturalization? So time to be focusing on this issue and noticing how it develops on the presidential campaign trail. And speaking of the presidential campaign trail, Biden's supporters are ramping up a campaign in waiting. Vice President Joe Biden's aides and supporters have intensified efforts in recent days to create a campaign in waiting, developing more detailed plans for staffing, fundraising, organizing, as they prepare for a possible 2016 presidential bid. Democratic fundraisers are working to recruit donors, lock down financial commitments, Now, Mr. Biden's aides are sketching out plans for potential hires in key primary states and considering which of the vice president's longtime allies would work for a campaign, who will join, and who would oversee a Biden super PAC. So while the vice president has said he may not be ready to mount a full-scale bid for the White House publicly, we're hearing rumors in private that Biden's advisors and supporters are proceeding as if he is soon going to be running, underscoring a growing belief that a campaign launch is imminent and a very real possibility. So what impact does this have on Hillary? Let's consider some recent numbers that have come out in regard to Hillary Clinton. Let me scroll over here and find this this poll that I saw the other day. I can't find these numbers, but she's losing support even among women, which was her highest support group, from about 70% down to about 45%. So these are troubling numbers for Hillary as she moves into mid-September. Makes sense that Biden may see an opening here. So let's look at what's happening in the executive branch today. President Obama is meeting with Education Secretary. So when I say Education Secretary, you should immediately think Department of Education. Who's the Education Secretary? The man's name is Arne Duncan, and they're going to discuss college access and affordability at a town hall meeting. Attorney General Loretta Lynch holds a news conference in Zurich with her counterpart, Swiss Attorney General Lauber, on both countries' investigations into the FIFA scandal. You certainly know what FIFA is, and they're gonna look at that. But the important thing is, you should know who Loretta Lynch is. You should know who, she's the Attorney General, and you should know that she therefore heads the Department of Justice. And I found my Hillary numbers. In a new ABC News poll, Hillary still leads Bernie among Democratic and Democratic leading independents, 42 to 24%, but her support among women has dropped 71 to 42%, and that's according to an ABC News poll. That's our political roundup for the day. We're approaching 8 minutes of information here, so just one more point. Did you know that a company has recently invented a new way to shower? That's right, a new way to shower. And in California, we're experiencing a drought, and a shower is something we all, well, I've been known to miss a day here or there, but basically we shower every day. And so we're going to take a look at this company's new shower nozzle head that apparently saves and conserves water. And we'll talk about whether that's something that should be regulated and mandated by the state. Should the state be telling you how to shower? Okay, have a good morning. Eat some good breakfast. I recommend today having a bowl of cereal. Go for a bowl of cereal. See you soon. Go Falcons.